May 8, 2026. The Gulf of Oman. Two Iranian oil tankers steam toward port. The MT Sea-3 and the MT Sevda, empty tankers heading to Iran to load crude oil, trying to breach the U.S. naval blockade. The United States Navy has other plans. An F/A-18 Super Hornet launches from the USS George H.W. Bush, climbs to altitude, locks onto the targets, and does something absolutely insane. The pilot drops laser-guided bombs directly down the smokestacks. Not at the ships, not near the ships, down the smokestacks, into the engine rooms. Surgical precision. Both ships disabled, dead in the water. Let me explain what just happened and why it matters. Smokestacks on oil tankers are narrow, maybe 3 to 5 feet in diameter. They rise dozens of feet above the deck, and they're connected directly to the engine room below. Hitting a target that small from a moving aircraft at hundreds of miles per hour requires precision that most people can't comprehend. The F/A-18 was likely traveling at 400 to 500 knots. The bombs are 500-pound laser-guided munitions. The margin for error is measured in inches. Miss the smokestack by a few feet and you hit the deck, maybe cause a fire, maybe damage the ship, but you don't disable it. Hit the smokestack dead center and the bomb drops straight down into the engine room, detonates inside the ship, destroys the engines without sinking the vessel. That's exactly what happened. Twice. 2 different ships, 2 perfect strikes. The video released by CENTCOM shows the strikes. You can see the F/A-18 approaching, the bomb releasing, the impact on the smokestack, smoke billowing from inside the ship, both tankers going dead in the water. This isn't random. This is calculated. The U.S. military chose this method for specific reasons. First, it disables the ship without sinking it. International law protects civilian vessels, even if they're violating sanctions. You can't just sink merchant ships. That's a war crime. But you can disable them, stop them from completing their mission. Dropping a bomb down the smokestack destroys the engines. The ship can't move, can't steer, can't complete its journey. But the hull is intact. The crew is safe. The ship doesn't sink. It just floats there. Useless. Second, it sends a message about capability. The precision required to hit a smokestack from a fast-moving jet is extraordinary. It tells Iran and anyone else watching that the U.S. can hit whatever target it chooses, no matter how small, no matter how difficult. If we can drop bombs down smokestacks, we can hit anything. Command centers, weapons depots, leadership bunkers. The message is clear. Nowhere is safe. Nothing is too small to target. Third, it's cost-effective. A 500-pound laser-guided bomb costs maybe $20,000. A Tomahawk cruise missile costs $1.5 million. A destroyer shadowing a ship for hours burns thousands of gallons of fuel and ties up a billion-dollar warship. An F/A-18 can take off, strike multiple targets, and return to the carrier in under an hour. Cheaper, faster, more flexible. This is the 4th ship the U.S. has disabled in 3 days. May 6th, an F/A-18 from the Abraham Lincoln shot out the rudder of the MT Hasna with cannon fire. May 8th, another F/A-18 from the George H.W. Bush bombs 2 more ships. See the pattern? Iran keeps sending ships. The U.S. keeps destroying them. Different methods, same result. The blockade holds. CENTCOM says 57 commercial vessels have been redirected since the blockade began. 57 ships that tried to enter or leave Iranian ports. 57 ships turned away. And now, 4 ships disabled. The MT Hasna, the Sea-3, the Sevda, and 1 more earlier in the week. Iran's oil exports are strangled. 90% of their export revenue comes from oil. Can't export oil means no revenue. No revenue means the economy collapses. That's the point of the blockade. But here's what makes the smokestack strikes significant beyond the tactical level. It's a demonstration of surgical precision at a time when precision matters. The U.S. is trying to enforce a blockade without starting a full-scale war. Every strike has to be calibrated. Disable the ship, but don't kill the crew. Stop Iran's oil exports, but don't sink civilian vessels. Enforce the blockade, but don't violate international law. That requires weapons and tactics that can thread a very narrow needle, and dropping bombs down smokestacks threads that needle perfectly. The bombs used were likely GBU-12 Paveway 2 laser-guided bombs, 500 pounds. Can be configured with high-explosive warheads or inert warheads. Based on the damage, probably inert. Just kinetic energy, no explosives. Smashes the engines without blowing up the ship. The laser guidance system allows the pilot or weapons officer to designate the target. A laser illuminates the smokestack. The bomb follows the laser, guides itself directly to the target. Margin of error measured in feet. The FA-18 Super Hornet can carry multiple paveway bombs, so one aircraft can disable multiple ships in a single sortie. That's exactly what happened here. One jet, 2 ships, 2 strikes. Mission complete. Iran can't counter this. They don't have the air defenses to stop FA-18s operating over the Gulf of Oman. They don't have fighters that can intercept them. They don't have the capability to protect their tankers. All Iran can do is keep sending ships and hope some get through. But that strategy is failing. 4 ships disabled, 57 turned away, 0 successful blockade runs. And every disabled ship is another message to ship owners, to insurance companies, to crews. Running the U.S. blockade doesn't work. You'll get turned around or disabled. Either way, you don't get paid. Either way, you don't deliver the oil. The economic pressure is mounting. Iran's foreign currency reserves are depleting. They can't pay for imports, can't fund government operations, can't support their proxies. The longer the blockade lasts, the weaker Iran gets. Trump is using this pressure to force negotiations. He wants Iran to give up its nuclear program, agree to limits on ballistic missiles, stop supporting groups like Hezbollah and the Houthis. And Iran is considering it because the alternative is economic collapse. But negotiations are fragile. Thursday night, Iran launched a massive attack on U.S. Navy destroyers. Missiles, drones, small boats. The U.S. intercepted everything and struck back. Hit IRGC facilities across southern Iran. Friday, the U.S. disabled 2 more tankers. The pattern continues. Iran attacks, the U.S. responds. Iran sends ships, the U.S. disables them. Back and forth, escalating, testing. The question is whether this leads to a deal or to war. Trump insists the ceasefire is still in effect. Iran says the U.S. is violating it. Both sides claim they're defending themselves. Both sides keep shooting. May 8th's smokestack strikes prove the U.S. can enforce the blockade indefinitely, with precision, with minimal collateral damage, with methods that don't sink ships or kill crews. But they also prove the conflict is far from over. Iran is still testing, still probing, still looking for weaknesses. And the U.S. is still responding, still enforcing, still demonstrating capability. 2 bombs, 2 smokestacks, 2 disabled ships. That's the story of May 8th. But it's also a demonstration of American precision, American capability, American resolve. The MT Sea-3 and the MT Sevda sit dead in the Gulf of Oman. Engines destroyed. Missions failed. Monuments to what happens when you challenge a U.S. naval blockade. And Iran has to decide. Keep testing and keep losing ships, or accept a deal and end this. The U.S. just showed them exactly how precise its strikes can be. Bombs dropped down smokestacks. That's not a warning. That's a demonstration. Iran is running out of options, and the U.S. is running out of patience.